So what I want to do is go through an example of dimensional analysis or unit conversion and how we're going to apply this for other things this semester. So I have to get out of my chair. And you guys can see my whiteboard? Okay, am I right? Right. Okay. My dining room table is 9 foot long. And if I were to ask you how many yards that is, you could probably tell me. You could mentally calculate how many yards my dining room table is if it's 9 feet long. Can you see my handwriting? 9 feet equals how many yards? Is that big enough?
Yeah, we can see that.
Okay, super, super. Okay. So, process of dimensional analysis or unit conversion is the same. And the process I'm going through, we have a handout in the Success Center on this process. Okay, so I always start with the given. So I'm going to repeat the given, 9 feet. Some teachers want you to put it over a 1. Fine. It means the same thing. Anything divided by 1 is that number. So I'm not changing anything by putting it over 1. But I've made a numerator and denominator out of it, and that's the important part. It's a dimension. Next thing is I put a multiplication symbol. I use an X. Some people use a dot. Some people use railroad tracks. The next thing I'm going to do is put my units down in the denominator that are in my given set. So my 9 feet, I'm going to put feet in the denominator of my next step. I look for a relationship. Is there a relationship between the given unit feet and the target unit yards? And the answer is, well, yes, and I know what that is. That there are 3 feet in 1 yard. That's a given fact. Now, a lot of the English ones you have committed to memory will be using the metric system extensively in the labs this semester and in lecture. So you'll get used to the metric system also. Once I have my target unit in the numerator, I stop and do my math. So I take the time to rewrite 9 feet times 1 yard over 3 feet. I can see that my units, my conversions cancel out for sure. So then I'm left with, I do the math on my calculator, or I can do it mentally too, and my calculator spits out 3,000,000 yards. Depending on how fancy my calculator is, depending on how many places I purchased, basically. So one of the things that should be drilled in your heads this semester will be things called significant digits. Significant digits, or significant figures. I started with 2. So I should not let any conversion factor that I have chosen interfere or change or alter that number. So my answer should have 2 significant digits. So I cross that off. So then I've only got 3.0 yards. Okay. The process is the same. We can apply it to more difficult or challenging situations. Let me see, where's my eraser? Here it is. Let's say instead of 9 feet, or let's just leave 9 feet. And I want to know how many meters that was. Meters. Now, one of the first things that we need to always recognize in our problem solving is, what am I dealing with? Some teachers say, write down the information. Okay, so the information is 9 feet, which is, feet is a unit of length in the English system. Meters is a unit of length, but in the metric system. So somewhere, somehow, along the line in solving the problem, I have to come up with a conversion between English and metric. Now, your teachers will not only give you the list of which 6 to 10 metric prefixes that you need to memorize, commit to memory, centi, milli, hecta, penta, femto, whatever. Not only will they give you the list that they want you to memorize of the prefixes for the metric system, they might want you to commit to memory a conversion factor for length, volume, and mass. And again, some teachers will give you that list. Some teachers say find it on your own. Your teachers will specify which one specifically you need to know. But the big picture here is that I have English length and I'm going to metric length. And I don't know what that relationship is. So, no problem. The process is the same. Start with a given. So I start with my given, 9 feet. And if you want to put it over 1, that's fine. Times, I write down my given unit, feet. Well, what do I know about feet? Well, someone once told me that in 1 foot, there's 12 inches. There are 12 inches in a foot. That fact is one I do know. So my feet would cancel out, and I would be left with inches if I would stop and do the math. But I'm not looking for inches, I'm looking for meters. So I'm going to keep going with my dimensional analysis. I put down my given unit that I need to get rid of in the denominator. And I look for something that I do know. Well, according to my list of factors my teacher had me memorize, I do know that in 1 inch, there's 2.54 centimeters. That's just a fact the teacher told me to memorize. Okay, well, my inches would cancel, but I'm still left with centimeters. So I keep going. This is like that new show they got out there, Name That Tune. But it's like, name that unit in as many units as it takes. So I need to get rid of centimeters. And is there a relationship between centimeters and meters? And the answer is, well, yes. The teacher did tell me that there are 100 centimeters in 1 meter. So once I get my target unit in the numerator, I stop and do the math. So then I get my calculator out, my basic one. I think I mentioned that to you. Your teacher should tell you what calculator you will be allowed to use on the test. Did I mention that? You can't use phones, laptops, or whatever. You can use just your calculator, basic non-programmable one. So if I get my calculator out, and if I do the math, I get this answer from my calculator of 2.7432 meters. For LabFlow, for Wiley Plus, if you put that into the calculator or the answer, they mark it wrong. because it would have not the correct number of significant digits. So I look at my given. My given has 2. I need 2. So I have to round. So the answer would be 2.7 meters. Sometimes they say put it in scientific notation. So you got to practice that. So that'd be 2.7 times 10 to the 0th power. And again, your teacher will go through scientific notation with you on that. Most of the problems that we have with answers are in Wiley Plus and LabFlow in helping students is it's in the wrong format or wrong significant digits. So pay close attention to those two things. So that's the process. It could be as something as complicated as 9.0 feet squared over meters cubed. And you can convert it to inches squared over, say, centimeters cubed. No matter what you start with, you just go one step at a time with the units, treating units as numbers to get the answer. So that's the process, dimensional analysis. Now, we have in the Success Center 3 or 4, let me see, 2 specific sheets on practicing. And they have the answers on the back. That's good. Then we have 2 or 3 step-by-step procedures that I just went through on the board on how to do it also. Let me triple check my list. Donna covered that. Donna covered that. Practice, practice, practice. Oh, Donna might have mentioned it. I definitely would say practice, practice, practice. Resources, the mini lecture videos on how to sign up for Wiley Plus. I'll have to make those available. Let me see here, logging on virtual labs. Personal accountability, rest, sleep, have fun during the semester, I think is the last thing that I need to say. And if you got any questions, then come see us in the Success Center. Zach and I are just 2 of the 20 people that work in there. And there's a lot of fellow students in there also that can help.